Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to another Manchester United live show. Is my camera blurry or is that just me? Hopefully it's fine. And today's just been a crazy day of news. Not even just United, just general craziness like Messi to Inter Miami, Bellingham to Real Madrid, the Benzema move is done. Like so many other bits and pieces, like targets like Enzo Lafia and Orkun Koku getting moves done already. What is it about all the good young players already being snapped up because United's slow? McAllister deal is done. Like general football news is crazy today, but we just got just so much news on the Manchester United takeover today. It was absolutely unreal. We had this big bomb drop from Mike Keegan of basically Shiekh Jassim, new beard, boom, boom, boom. And then the next thing you know, Lawton of the Times is saying, yeah, nah, this bid ain't serious. Like he's just like put that bid in to save face. Like he's been told it's Sir Jim, like not like told, but you know what I mean, like indicated that, etc., etc. So it led to a lot of confusion of really what is going on in this takeover. The feeling in the media is yes, Jassim has put in this last minute bid, take it or leave it, but he's done that because he already knows that Sir Jim has won and he wants to make it look like he's left on his own demands and that he pulled out rather than he kind of lost to Sir Jim to save face, essentially, which could be the case because I do think, if Qatar are as determined or as rich as they've been making out with their PR teams, they would have bid 6 billion. And I do think that Qatar have been using the PR of we're going to clear the debt, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Now I think they are actually going to do that, but every time they release a report, they tell us what they're going to do. You keep telling us what you're going to do. You keep telling us that you're going to clear the debt, etc., but you've not put in a bid that is high enough for the Glazers. Now, you've put in a very high bid that the Glazers should accept, but we don't know if the Glazers are going to accept. However, on the other hand, you could argue, actually, Qatar have put this bid in because they are just fed up with the Glazers. They've put this bid in, it's a reasonable bid, it's well above the share price, and they think the Glazers are playing a game with them. Maybe all this news that Sir Jim is winning and that Qatar have put in this bid to save face, which is being reported by the British media, who are the Jim Ratcliffe merchants in the media, who want Jim Ratcliffe, it's always being reported by the people that want Jim Ratcliffe that this Qatar bid is to save face. So maybe actually this Qatar bid isn't that, and that actually this Qatar bid is, we know you're using Sir Jim Ratcliffe to play with us. It's gone on long enough. This is our last and final offer, and we're walking away, and you can go with Sir Jim. There's so many ways that we can look at this process and so many things that we can do. Nick says, if the Glazers love United like they say they do, they should accept the Qatar bid and invest in everything and redo Old Trafford. I agree. Qatar is a quick, clean deal, paid in full, not dependent on borrowing/debt for 100% of the club. Anyone with half a brain should know to accept that. And this is the thing. The Qatar deal is so much simpler and easier to do and so much quicker to do because basically Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid is difficult because the new structure he's proposing is to keep all 6 Glazers there, and all 6 Glazers will split the 20% between the 6 of them. Bear in mind, Joe and Avram actually have more than the other 4 siblings, and then that Sir Jim would slowly buy them out and Sir Jim would have to borrow the money to do this, this and that. And whereas Qatar is like, nah, 100%, boom, there you go, up front, boom, done. Qatar, one big chunk, boom, done. So Jim, this, that, slowly buying them out, not buying 100%, this, that. And the Qatar bid's an easier one to do, but the thing about the Sir Jim bid is they technically will make more money per share because Jim's valuation of 69% of the club, because he would only end up buying 50 to 69% of the club, is higher than what Shiekh Jassim's value of 69% of the club is. But Shiekh Jassim is buying 100%. So, just because you bid 5.2 billion for 100% and Jim puts 4.9 billion in for 69%, technically Sir Jim's bid is more valuable, and the Glazers just might look at it simple economics and go, well, actually, we'll technically get more money for Sir Jim, especially if the club goes well and the shares go up and the valuation of the shares go up. They would get even more money from Sir Jim, which they might think because of Ten Hag, etc., etc., etc. There's so many different things that we can look at it. The Times or the Express, the Express is stating that Sir Jim is in the final stages. The Express has come out just now, or about an hour ago, said that Sir Jim is in the final stages to be United owner. The Times are saying that Sir Jim is in the final stages doing final negotiations, but nothing's agreed yet. There is this Qatari bid. And the one thing is you can say is, look, all the people who are saying, look, this Qatar bid is just to save face, all the people that are saying that Qatar Qatar bid is that they are good journalists, but they're very British United. They want Sir Jim to win. Very connected to the Rain Group journalists, where they only get that story from that Sir Jim kind of Glazer Rain Group side. No one's really getting many of the stories from the Qatar side. And I think the most important thing is we are going to get clarity this week, I believe. But I think it's very much like, is this Qatar bid enough? And it's been reported at £5.2 billion and then raising to £6 billion in pledged investment, but the Glazers don't count pledged investment. They're not interested. Now, some sources are claiming there's actually £4.5 billion and that the 700 million on top of it is to clear the debt. So there's lots of kind of rumours and speculation on what is the case. But it'll be interesting to see how it develops. Obviously, you know me, I want Qatar. But I do feel that just with the way the news is reporting it, while nothing for Sir Jim Ratcliffe is done yet, apparently he is in the final stages, the final negotiation stages. But then you can look at it and go, well, actually, Sir Jim's been in the final stages for 2 months and nothing's happened. Is he really in the final stages, or had the Glazers done this on purpose to set up this big Qatar bid? There's so many ways we can look at it. Today I feel Qatari. I mean, hopefully we do get Qatar. Alex said, why would Qatar put another bid to save face? Just walk away, then put in another bid to be rejected. They must feel they have a chance. And that is true. That's definitely something to think. And Shiekh Jassim is right. No more beating around the bush. Straight talk. Finally on Friday, debate over. And yeah, and I don't know if you saw that video on Twitter of Sky Kavanagh, and he basically said Shiekh Jassim is fed up. He thinks this takeover process is a joke. And he's just gone, here is the bid. I'm walking away Friday. This is a joke. I want to get on with the transfer window. I want to be ambitious new owners. Back to Nag. I'm not going to have any time to do that because this thing is stalling. Here is your bid. Here's your improved bid. You take it, you leave it. I'm walking out. La-di-la. So if the reports and rumours are true that actually Sir Jim's been used as a safety net this whole time for the Glazers to milk Qatar, then the Glazers will realise they can't milk Qatar anymore and will have to accept the Qatar bid. So we could get interesting news come out and developments in the next 24 hours that the Glazers have accepted a Qatar bid, or it could just be that road and that slow road of Sir Jim Ratcliffe. And that Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the question is, why do you want the Glazers to stay? I don't want the Glazers to stay. I've never said I want the Glazers to stay. I've always said I'm pro Qatar. Unless I've said something that didn't make sense and been misinterpreted, I wouldn't want the Glazers to stay out. I want Qatar. I want Jim gone. I don't want Jim because he's going to keep the Glazers staying. But I think Jim is winning the race, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying I want Jim. I'm saying I think Jim is winning the race from what I'm reading. But again, we don't know if we can believe everything we read because Laurie Whitwell and David Ornstein have said it. What they get told on the takeover, a lot of the time changes day till day till day. I think it's very much like, is Qatar been used as a pawn for the Glazers? Have the Glazers used Qatar or Sir Jim? Sorry, Sir Jim been used by the Glazers to get more out of Qatar? Or are the Glazers just generally advancing on Sir Jim's deal? But as Alex mentioned, why would Qatar be putting in this bid if they didn't think they had a chance? Surely Qatar are putting in this bid for a reason, and surely there's some positivity there. And I think there's so many ways that you can look at it as well. Just give the $6 billion and walk away. I mean, that's what I'd like to see, but unfortunately that's not happening. And they technically are giving $6 billion, but a lot of it's in pledged investment. And when you think about it, because 700 million of the club is debt, and another 2 billion needs to be invested. When you're bidding 5.2 billion, they are technically bidding 7 billion because the club is not worth 5.2 billion. What is interesting though is some reports are actually saying that this bid is like 5.7 billion. Again, how much he's actually bidded is so unclear. Like if it's 5.2 billion, Jim Ratcliffe's got a chance. But if they've bidded actually something above 5.5 billion, not including the pledged investment, then I think yeah, maybe. Hopefully the Glazers have been using Jim this whole time to get more out of Qatar. Hopefully. Is there a little bit of lag? So I do apologise for that. Jim's offer is dependent on debt and will take many years to pay them off. Is that pay off whatever happened, but leave it to the Glazers to make a crap decision? The Glazers aren't good at making decisions. I mean, they had Woodward at the helm 10 years. But Alex makes a point here. Like, Qatar's just going to give you the money straight up. So Jim's is going to come in slowly. Like, yeah, literally. I mean, there's so many ways you can look at it as well. Saeed says Shiekh Jassim submitted a 5th bid earlier this week for Man Utd. He has set Friday as the deadline for his response. Otherwise, it's understood he would disengage. And I think at least by Friday, we should have some clarity. Now, it was said that if the Glazers come back to him and say, we're going to accept your bid, he will re-engage. But as of Friday, this is the final bid. He is signing out. A report closer to Qatar reported $7.4 billion, which comes to £5.9 billion. This is closer to the Glazers' valuation, and they should accept it if they don't want to be despised anymore. I agree, but a lot of that percentage is pledged investment as well. Is it better to walk away? Rather than making another bid to be rejected? Qatar was for the chat. I read that one out, didn't I? I'm just going to scroll down in the chat as well. The worrying thing is if we, Qatar will probably buy Tottenham or West Ham as well. I'm just going to scroll down in the chat. They still can debt more and add money to their bank accounts if they stay. Then maybe there's reasons why not Qatar, the Glazers might want to stay. There are reports of £5.8 billion being a bid as well. Axel Disasi to join United. He's a decent player. If we don't get Kim Min-jae, it said that we will look in the French markets. Glazers need to get their naughty bums out now, says Leroy. And the Glazers just need to go and screw the money, give the fans what they want. You'd think after 17 years of ruining this club and Manchester City on the verge of a treble, they'd have some morals and go, well, we're going to get a big payday no matter if it's Qatar. We're going to get a big payday no matter if it's Jim. Let's give the Glazers what they want. Not let's give the fans what we want. But the Glazers don't think like that, unfortunately. They don't. So I want to actually get into the news. So there's quite a few news to talk about. Now, it is being reported, and this is by the Daily Express. So because it's by the Daily Express, we don't have to worry too much. But the general reports coming out is that basically, I think you can see this here, is that basically Sir Jim Ratcliffe has reportedly entered the final stages. Now, this is the worrying thing. Qatar's put in the bid, but even though Qatar's put in the bid, it's being reported that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is in the final stages of the takeover and it's nearing conclusion. And a lot of journalists in the space are suggesting that this bid is too late from Qatar. But as Alex said, why would Qatar bid if they knew it was going to be rejected, if they knew it was going to be too late? Maybe the Glazers have given Qatar some secret indication that they should come in and bid again for Manchester United. So although it's being said Sir Jim is in the final stages and nothing is signed, nothing is official, nothing is done. Now, the interesting thing that came out regarding the sale was, of course, obviously what was said by the Times. And the Times said Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos have emerged as clear favourites to complete a deal and have entered the final stages of negotiations with Rain. So it is being said that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is in the final stages to complete the takeover. And this is also being said by a reliable source in the Times. However, it's not being heavily said. It's just the feeling. And the Times are reliable journalists with good sources. He actually said Messi will go to Inter Miami back in November, Lawton of the Times. And he was pretty accurate with that. Does this mean the Super League is coming back? I honestly, not a clue. Not a clue. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe holds a Chelsea season ticket, doesn't he? And McAllister to Liverpool, 35 million. What deal? Listen, I don't agree with the Glazers getting death threats. I generally don't think they do it on purpose. I just think they are something. I don't know what you mean by that, but they're just idiots. But yeah. What was I going to say? I can't remember what I was going to say. But there is the feeling that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is in the lead, and that's what's been reported. So I'm not going to be like one of those people and go, yeah, Qatar put in this new big guys is coming today. We're going to be Qatar owned, etc., etc. Qatar have put in this new bid. It's a big bid. It's way over the share price. Qatar have put in a very generous big bid that if any owners were not the Glazer level greedy, they'd accept. This Qatari bid, most owners, pretty much, I think the owner of every other Premier League club would accept this Qatari bid right now. But the Glazers have greed in their name. And that is the big problem. They are just straight up greedy. And that is the big problem. But I do want to get into kind of the news on the bid, etc., etc. Because obviously, there's a reason Qatar put this bid in. There's a reason that Qatar put this bid in. And Sky are indicating that, Shiekh Jassim is so fed up. He just said to the Glazers, this is my final bid. You take it, you leave it. Because Shiekh Jassim feels, and those in Qatar feel, that they're using it. The Glazers are playing a game with them and using Sir Jim Ratcliffe as a game. Not that he's actually winning the race. It's also being reported somewhere. But it was said Shiekh Jassim's offer for 100% of the club is transactionally simple. Repeating, it would clear the debt completely and provide additional funding for players, stadium and more. But what Simon Stone goes is this is transactionally simple. This is quite a simple deal to do. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's deal, the structure of the deal, the way he's laid out the deal, to borrow the money, to get in bed with the Glazers, to keep the Glazers here, to change the controls and the powers of shares. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's deal will take a while. Shiekh Jassim's offer is literally 100% of the club, boom. Clear the debt, boom. It's a much more simple deal to do, Shiekh Jassim's offer. So if Shiekh Jassim's offer is accepted, it can move forward quite quickly. The worrying thing is, could the reason the takeover be moving so slow because they decided 2 months ago that it's going to be Sir Jim? which makes no sense why Qatar bid, but they could have decided 2 months ago it's going to be Sir Jim, but they knew that his structure and his proposal of the deal would take time. Is that the reason it's taken so long? Or was this just a game to get more money out of Qatar as well? Keep smashing the like buttons, guys, and of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new as well. I generally think the Glazers are spoiled. Some want to stay, some Glazers are split. Some want to stay, some want to go. And I think that's the problem. There's split thinking between the Glazers as well. And Qatari should win the win. Sir Jim can't even buy expensive players, as Qatari is rich to buy expensive players. Qatar is rich, but they don't seem to be bidding 6 billion or acting like they're anywhere near as rich as they say they are. I know they've had problems with the Credit Suisse bank falling down, etc., etc., etc. I know Qatar have had some issues, but if they're as rich as they're making out, why aren't they bidding 6 billion? Just boom, up front, get it done. Like, yes, bidding 6 billion is crazy, and we're not worth £6 billion, and this isn't including pledged investment, because there's going to be another billion in pledged investment, which would technically make it a 7 billion bid. But there is that feeling of, yeah, Qatar are wealthy. Yeah, they're way wealthier than Sir Jim Ratcliffe. But Sir Jim Ratcliffe is buying not the whole club. He's buying 50% of the club. He's buying enough to get majority control. And he's being friends with the Glazers. And because he's buying enough to get majority control, and because he's being friends with the Glazers, Sir Jim, you know, seems to be the one in the lead. Which I don't like to say, but it seems to be the one in the lead. Scrolling down on the chat as well. It was said, at the end of the day, only 2 bidders, so the Glazers need to shit or get off the pot. At the end of the day, they just need to make a decision. And there's reports that they've already made their decision in Sir Jim, but Qatar put in a last-minute bid, and maybe that's enough to close it. And it said that United are closing on Axel Disasi. I always say his name wrong as well. And this has come from L'Equipe. Apparently, he was 1 step away from joining United. The 2 clubs must agree a fee. This is an interesting report to come out. And the interesting thing about this is we've been told the same about Kim Min-jae. So you sometimes wonder, well, where's the truth in this? He's obviously a good centre-back, and we have been linked with him before. And Fabrizio Romano said if United don't get Kim Min-jae, they will explore the French market. But, I think he's a good player, but, that's an interesting one. They're saying he's 1 step away from joining United. Now, I've got to wait for other reports to get on this, because we were also told that what do you call him? We were already told that Kim Min-jae's 1 step away from joining United. So I would, again, this is breaking news. This is news coming in just now, but I'd hold back on this news just a second or so, just because of we've got the same about Kim Min-jae. We sort of told that Kim Min-jae was on the verge of joining United. What I will say though is, if you have watched him, because I don't watch a lot of the French league, do let me know your thoughts on him, if you think he's a good player, etc., etc., etc. Rich faces that Manchester United are well aware their transfer budget needs to be enhanced by sales, and if they manage to raise enough funds, they might be able to pursue players who previously seemed out of their price range. And there's a lot of talk saying once we get sales done and once we get new owners, then we can pursue that as well. But I honestly don't really know much about Axel Disasi, if I'm going to be all honesty with you. It was said by L'Equipe the 2 clubs are yet to begin formal negotiations, but the Principality side, who've missed out on European football altogether after a late season collapse in form, are hoping to bring in between 40 to 50 million sum, which Manchester United expect to have no issue playing. So basically, he'll be £30 million, which is cheap, and maybe United's taking a cheaper option. But I still think keep an eye on this one. But we got told the exact same about Kim Min-jae, so you just never know as well. Any news on outgoings? Basically, United are desperate to get rid of Harry Maguire, and he should leave, but we don't know if he will leave. In terms of other outgoings, Dean Henderson looks to be set to leave. Donny van der Beek wants to leave. Alanga could be going. Sancho may go, but I think he'll probably end up staying. McTominay could be going. Tellez and Bailly we want to sell, so if we can get a buy for that. Brandon Williams should be on the way out as well. I can almost guarantee Jim's future full payout years down the road are false promises. Just take Qatar and get out. Yeah, I mean, literally on the takeover, I think this needs to take Qatar and go. Scrolling down the chat because I am a minute behind as well. I'd not bite the Disasi story. Kim Min-jae is already nailed on, plus Lindelof staying. Yeah, I mean, it's said that Kim Min-jae is nailed on, but the sources that say Kim Min-jae are nailed on aren't the best sources in the world. So it's interesting. Axel Disasi is exciting, but gives me Eric Bailly vibes. Not saying Bailly is bad, but I have a feeling about this. I think we could do better. I think he's a decent player, but we could do better as well. Maybe if we're getting rid of Maguire and Lindelof, then this is a one. But I don't watch a lot of the French league. A lot of you guys saying he's strong. Min Jae already near one of the best centre-backs in the world. Would much rather prioritise him. Yeah, if he's only going to be 10 million more, for me, I would prioritise Kim Min Jae. The media is English biased, Alice. They are making Jim look like there is no negativity, whereas Qatar's all negative. And that's something to do with the takeover. They will have more, the media will be more pro Sir Jim Ratcliffe, which means there could be definitely bias towards Sir Jim Ratcliffe in the media reporting of the takeover as well. And so we have to keep an eye on that as well. And are we looking at French defenders? Well, I think Romana did say if we don't get it. And Alice Fabrizio said we were linked to French league centre-backs. They might just be milking it. And that's a good point from Matt. Because Romano did say, you know, if United don't get Kim and Jae, they will sign a French league centre-back. The only French league centre-back we've really been linked to in the past 3 months is him, Axel. So maybe they're just going, okay, let's, you know, if we use United's name, we're going to get a lot more clicks. So let's go and claim that United are working on this guy, because Romano's confirmed that we will get a French centre-back or French league centre-back if we don't get Kim and Jae. This is the only French league centre-back that United have actually looked at. So maybe they're jumping the gun, and maybe they're using United's name here for clicks. It's very classic United as well. And it's come from L'Equipe. It doesn't come from Central Devils. It comes from L'Equipe, which is an okay source, but not a brilliant source as well. 9 out, 7 in. I mean, that would be nice. Look, I think in an ideal world, we bring in Kim Min Jae, Diogo Costa, Moises Caicedo, Mason Mount, Harry Kane, and Ramus Hojlund. We bring in 6 players and potentially another winger or fullback as well. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. Big up to everybody in the chat as well. Olivier Giroud is also a good striker. Olivier Giroud, I do not want anywhere near United. And the latest offer went in earlier this week, and it's understood to be in the circa of $6.5 billion and $1 billion of pledged investment on top. Yeah, so £5.2 billion rising to $6 billion in pledged investment as well. LMAO, all this takeover is just dragging it on, and it's frustrating for the fans and definitely for Ten Hag. He wants players in, but they're just dragging it. And yeah, the most important thing about this takeover is generally the fact that it's probably coming to an end soon, because at the end of the day, it's just dragging on. We get told one thing one day, another thing the other day. The takeover is just massively dragging on as well. An interesting thing to point out, and someone just put this in the chat, is that sure it wasn't, you know, it's being reported that Shiekh Jassim's second bid was 5.5 billion. You know, every kind of figure we get for a Shiekh Jassim bid is, you know, the reportings of it are so inaccurate. So although it's been reported that his bid is 5.2 billion and then the pledged investments would take it to over 6 billion, a lot of people are feeling, you know, is they just lying about what Shiekh Jassim's actual bid is? Because no one really seems to know what this Shiekh Jassim bid is at the moment as well. No one seems to know. The Qatar structure is simple. Sir Jim Ratcliffe is complex, and the share price development complex and share price is dependent if Glazers stay. More risk involved, which is true. I mean, I don't get why they don't just accept this massive Qatar bid. They're going to get over £5 billion straight up, one chunk, bosh. The fans will be happy and they can leave on a positive note with the fans. But they want to see if they can get just a couple 100 million more and rinse out Sir Jim Ratcliffe and rinse out every penny they can. But who knows, they'll get that money from Sir Jim. It will take time. There will be debt. He's got to borrow it, you know, as well. It's just crazy. Cost over 75 million is lots of money. I think he's 60 million. The problem in the transfer window is there's United tax as well, which is annoying. There's always United tax as well. And Qatar will win. There have been secret negotiations. That's what the ITK accounts say, but the ITK accounts for a reason. They're not reliable. Apparently, Axel was quite similar to Upamecano, and he was turned upside down by Haaland. Min Jae feels quicker and more physical. Any defender we buy must meet the standards of Haaland. He's the best. And look, I agree. My first choice centre-back is Min Jae. My second choice centre-back is Timber. I will keep an eye on this story, but, in case other people start reporting it. But as Matt said earlier, people could jump the gun. Do you think Turan would be a good backup option considering he's 3 since Martial's injury prone? Definitely as a backup option. You know, I think there's an all right player in January, so definitely as a backup option. Who else is a free agent? He's a free agent. Where is he going? Because I read a story about a free agent who was going to join a club, but they were just waiting to see if they got any better offers. And Ndika is also a free agent. The centre back Ndika that we're linked to is also a free agent, so that's one to look for as well. This club under Sir Jim is basically a sinking ship. Why take less and stay under him? shaking my head. It makes no sense for the Glazers to take Sir Jim, but the feeling is they will. The feeling is they will, but that's just the feeling within the media. The media on this takeover has been so inaccurate, and unfortunately, and I hate saying this, all we can really do with this takeover is just sit and wait as well. If the Glazers upset Sir Jim, they knew he have to borrow money to buy the club, so the club will be run and full of debt. Qatar make final 7.4 billion bid to buy Man United. Sets deadline Friday before ending negotiations. True. I mean, something's got to happen quick. Qatar are fed up. They've put in a final offer. The only problem is reliable sources are saying the Rain Group is what was already begun working on the Sir Jim deal. And the Rain Group prefer the Sir Jim deal. That's the worrying thing. Tarum would be an amazing second half impact sub because of his pace and physicality. Yeah, I would take Tarum on a free. Palestri needs more game time. Palestri's very likely to go out on loan. In fact, you think he will go out on loan. Messi has gone to the MLS. Maybe Ronaldo will go to the MLS as well. Even Ndika's free. Yeah. Ndika and Tarum available on a free. I definitely think that's options that United should look at as well. The banks, this is an interesting comment here. The banks will come in for debt repayment. The Glazers have 200 million to be paid to Bank of America by the end of June. So the quicker it is done, the better for the Glazers. True. And the thing is, it's so quick and easy to get that Qatar deal done because there's no borrowing, there's no loans, there's no gradual installments. It's just bish, bash, bosh, boom, done. Which would make the Glazers' life easier as well. And I just really hope that I wake up tomorrow and we get a banging story coming out tomorrow that the Glazers has accepted Shiekh Jassim's bid. Qatar on the verge, Qatar going into an exclusive period, etc., etc. This final bid just pips Sir Jim, la because they've not named Sir Jim as going in an exclusive period. They've just named Sir Jim as the favourite. So Jim put his bid in like 2 months ago. Not much has changed since. We just had 2 Qatar bids since. And they never named him as being in an exclusive period, which says to me, do they like Sir Jim's bid as much as they say they do? If they didn't pick him ages ago, they were still waiting for these Qatar bids. And maybe they're waiting for these Qatar bids for a reason because, you know, the Glazers wanted these Qatar bids as well. Jim Ratcliffe will have to do a lot between now and the first game to avoid being booed out of assistance if he attends the first match. I guess so. I do think Sir Jim's an improvement on the Glazers, but if we want to compete with Man City, we want to compete with Newcastle, then I think, you know, Qatar's a lot better as well. Tarum going to PSG, sorry, and Ndika looks like he's going to Roma. Clubs moving already. And you're absolutely right, Philly. Unfortunately, clubs are moving already, and United are falling behind. Shock. Who would have predicted this as well? And just scrolling through the chat as well. Rabiot, Tarum on a free. Let's have them both. It would help with our depth problem as well. It really would help with the depth problem. Someone's listed the name of strikers. So Tarum Martinez, Ostenham and Kudus. And Paved and Rodrigo de Paul, Tarum Martinez. I don't think we're going to sign a lot of those players that you just named. Just give me a list of players there as well. Ask the Qatar to make Sir Jim back off if Sir Jim knows better. But I just think Sir Jim's got into bed with the Glazers. He's doing a deal to help the Glazers stay. Like Sir Jim wants United. He's determined to get United. We have to see what happens. But a lot of sources saying that Sir Jim is kind of in that final stage. Nothing's official. No documents have been signed. Sir Jim isn't been named as a preferred bid or anything. So, you know, we have to take every story with a pinch of salt. It's just media talk, but the media talk is that Sir Jim is in the lead. This Sir Jim's in the lead. That, which, it's not what we want. But you know, we can't do anything about it. Unfortunately, the media talk is all about Sir Jim. Continuing on as well. It's like those reports of Bank of America line of credit for transfers. How is that remotely good idea for us to take on that much more debt? I agree. And we should hijack Tarum, 6'4" midfielder with technical abilities. We're talking about the other Tarum, but we should hijack that because if we do get Sir Jim, we should bring in that niche player as well. If we don't invest next season, it will be a difficult season because we are playing in the UCL and fatigue will catch us exactly. And Chelsea and Liverpool are investing. They're not going to be as bad as last season. We're going to have more competition. Newcastle will get better. Arsenal will get better. City already way above us. You know, Liverpool and Chelsea will get better. We need to invest to make sure we get top 4 as well. And we should make peace with the fact that Glazers and Sir Jim will stay. Man United are never winning anything until the second coming of Christ. I mean, look, I want to remind you this. The feeling in the media is that Sir Jim is winning. The feeling in the media is this. The feeling in the media is that. But nothing has been done. Nothing has been sorted. No documents have been signed. This is just a feeling in the media. And we know that the media lie, and we know that the Rain Group and the Glazers have been telling journalists things on purpose. For all we know, we could get a big shock. And, there's still hope. I do think it's going to be Sir Jim, but there's still hope. we could get some big announcement or something that they've chosen the Qatar bid, etc., etc., etc. The feeling in the media is, I'm just reading some other reports, that Kim Min-jae is still the priority and that Axel Disasi is just an alternative. A lot of more reliable sources are just saying this is an alternative to Kim Min-jae. But Kim Min-jae still seems to be the United priority. West Ham are in the cup final tonight, aren't they? Is it the cup final tonight against AZ Alkmaar, isn't it? I have to say, let's hope West Ham win the European Cup tonight. That would be massive. I'm guessing not AZ Alkmaar, Florentina, what I'm about. I'm guessing Daniel is pretty excited for that game. That can be West Ham's first trophy in a few years. 159 likes, so let's go for 300 likes as well. Fans are against Glazers and Jim. Fans are against Jim because obviously, you know, he wants to keep the Glazers here and we don't want the Glazers here as well. It's tonight versus Florentina, so big up West Ham tonight. Massive game going on as well. And I wonder what Erik Ten Hag is thinking right now as players pass him on the conveyor belt of the transfer window. He can't make any meaningful purchases. I love that. Yeah, it's annoying because everyone's just going back, forth. This deal's happening, that deal's happening. What can Erik Ten Hag do? Unfortunately, Erik Ten Hag cannot literally do anything right now. Well, reportedly, the Glazers have given them the green light to do Hojlund and Mount, which we will talk about in a second. But, you know, he can't really do anything and he's seeing everyone do things. And you know what? We're fed up with the takeover. But just imagine how fed up Ten Hag is. Just, you know, Sky Kavanagh said this today. He said Shiekh Jassim is fed up. He thinks this takeover process is a joke. He's angry with the Glazers. He's put in this bid. He said, take it or leave it and I'm going. That's what has been said. But imagine, you know, if we're frustrated, imagine how frustrated Ten Hag must be. This is his job. This really affects him in multiple ways. You know, he needs these players in. He sees Chelsea and Liverpool improving. He sees that he's got a big year ahead. He sees that he's had a year to judge the players. Maguire's not good enough. You're not going to win a league title with Maguire. You're not going to win a league title with De Gea, McTominay, a lot of these players. You know, he needs 2 strikers. He needs 2 midfielders. He needs a centre-back. He needs a goalkeeper. And then the following seasons, he'll be looking at a winger and a fullback. He needs a lot of players. Like, imagine how frustrated he must be when he's just having to take over this, take over that. You can sign this player, but or look at this player, but we'll be slow. You know, we're so slow in the takeover. We're so slow in the transfer window. When Ten Hag wanted someone at Ajax, they would just be like, boom, got it done, sorted. At United, we've got useless scouts, useless talent ID. We've got useless everything, and we'll go and overpay for someone, and we'll take our time to overpay for this person. And, you know, we're not as good as the transfer windows as ours. So it's good as Ten Hag's done, and I worry he's going to fall behind. And this takeover, especially if it's the Sir Jim deal, which is more complicated, will take longer to do. So that could even potentially impact our transfer window. And then that's the frustrating thing, that I'm worried that we're going to fall behind as well. Kim Min-jae has to be the priority. Can't miss out for such a quality player with that clause. Yeah, and hopefully he is. Hopefully that's a bit of Spanish PR that Kim Min-jae is the priority as well. You can't say Rat out when he's not even in, and that's true. He's not in yet. We don't want Rat, but you know he's not in yet. We just want the Glazers out. That's all we want as well. And there are rumours that United looking at Amrabat. There are also goalkeeper rumours that we're looking at the Anderlecht goalkeeper, but not much in it yet. If we do get more links to him, I will talk about it. Not quite Diogo Costa, David Raya level, but decent keeper to give De Gea some competition. I don't know why I'm yawning. I always yawn in my live streams. I don't know why. I'm always so tired when I go live. I guess like I had like 1 or 2 tired live streams, and now it's like psychological. I'm always tired when I'm live as well. We want to see soon as possible. Please, guys, be serious with news. We don't want rumours. What we want is Man United to be a serious club where, like, we're linked to a player, bish, bash, bosh, boom, signed him in 3 days. Not transfers, news dragging out for months on end. It's like, if this was Abramovich in the Chelsea era, when Chelsea were linked to Kim Min-jae like 3 weeks ago, let's say we were linked to Kim Min-jae 3 weeks ago, if we had Abramovich as our owner, he'd be a Man United player now. You know, we'd hear about Werner going to Liverpool, then Werner would get linked to Chelsea, and 3 days later, Werner's a Chelsea player, and Abramovich has done it. You remember that? You know, so there's so much, like, in terms of, like, United just drag everything on. We're like Arsenal. Man United and Arsenal will be linked to players for months and months and months, and they'll get the deal done. Liverpool get their deals done quick. City are very quiet and get their deals done quick, but then the media don't want to talk about City because they're not a big club and they don't get loads of clicks. Man United and Arsenal are the 2 teams in the Premier League that just faff about with transfers. We're just linked to them for ages as well. it's very necessary that Qatar win the takeover if you want to see United lifting the Premier League. And I do agree, and people don't like that, but sovereign wealth, Middle Eastern money, it is the way to win trophies in football at the moment, whether you like it or not. Football is about money. The Middle East is taking significant power over in football. Ronaldo, lots of players are going to Saudi Arabia. You need good connections with the Middle East. You want Middle Eastern owners in football if you want to go to the top, because that is where the money is at. And people won't like that, but it is the truth as well. I'd like to know what Jim's motivation is. Clearly keeping the Glazers on, adding depth will not take us anywhere near the top. It's interesting to know he doesn't care about OG Nice. He just wants to make money out of United. He likes the name. He probably wants the attention. He wants to take United to the top, but I just think he's so determined to get United that he's just willing to keep the Glazers here to get United, because you know what, he'll do anything to get United, even if it keeps the Glazers there. And the worrying thing about Sir Jim is he tried to buy Chelsea, and Abramovich was like, "You're not buying Chelsea because you'll be a rubbish owner." He tried to buy Chelsea. He has a Chelsea season ticket, but Sir Jim is reportedly a Manchester United fan as well. Leo G says useless owners are useless. Bellingham, 103 million euro clause, rising to 130 million euros. Good deal for Madrid. I'm glad Bellingham went to Madrid. He wasn't the right fit for United, and Arsenal couldn't get him. City couldn't get him, and Liverpool didn't have the money. I'm glad that Jude Bellingham has gone to Real Madrid, because I wouldn't want to see him at a direct Premier League rival as well. Qatar deal done for 5.8 billion. I wish. And the Glazers should take the money and buy Liverpool for 4 billion, Alice. And then I would root for Glazers, and only then I would root for Glazers. Do you know what? Just take the Qatar money and bugger off. That's what I want to say to the Glazers as well. Take the money and go. 115 million is Bellingham's price, although I think 20 million of it is in add-ons as well. If it's Sir Jim, the other worry is how long Erik Ten Hag stays at the club. He isn't Ollie, just content to stay with mediocrity, and that's true. If we are mediocre under Sir Jim, will Ten Hag go? There's a fair amount of deadwood to get rid of. It could free up much in wages. Well, that's what we're trying to do. Maguire's contemplating about leaving. If Maguire has any ambition and he wants to play for England again, he better leave. Yes, he'll have to half his wages, but if you want to play football, you've got to half your wages. According to Fabrizio, Bellingham's price is 103 million. Yeah, 103 million euros. It's 150 million in total, including add-ons, but the start fee is like 90 million euros, isn't it, as well? Sadly, money talks. Yeah, and if the Glazers stay Man United 10 years, we'll struggle to make Europa League. Well, I don't think we can be that dramatic. You don't know. I think Sir Jim will be an improvement on the Glazers, without doubt, but not Qatar level. And with Newcastle's money, with Man City's money, we can maybe be a Liverpool, but we won't be able to really go toe-to-toe to them and then compete with them. We'll be a Liverpool, we'll be an Arsenal. We won't be a City, won't be a Newcastle, won't be a PSG, won't be a Real Madrid. The Glazers adjust the 5 billion and buy Liverpool for 4 billion. I read out that one as well. Could the ownership be waiting for pre-season tour to be complete before selling? I don't know what they're doing, Diego. They're just taking their time. Deco on free is better than Disasi. I agree. Absolute bargain. If we want a cheap option, go for a Deco on a free. We were linked to Torpedo, but for me, I think Kim and Jay, due some part fan, wants United. Wants to play in the Premier League. It's between United and Newcastle. We're a more serious, not more serious club than Newcastle, but a bigger club than Newcastle. We should win the race for Kim and Jay as well. Shiekh Jassim is also conscious that if he is to become the new owner, it should be as soon as possible to offer Erik Ten Hag the optimum time to strengthen his squad in the transfer market. And it is said the reason behind Shiekh Jassim putting in this last-minute high bid is because he just can't wait any longer. If he gets it, he wants to start work right away. And that is actually why it's being reported that Shiekh Jassim has gone ahead and already put in a bid for Manchester United. He put in a bid because he can't, it's been said by some sources he's put in a bid to save face because he knows and he's got to upset the feet to Sir Jim. And then other sources are saying, no, he's put in a bid because he's serious about when he takes over this club. He's got ambition and he wants to do this, this, and this when he takes over the club. So he's put in a bid now because he cannot wait for this and this to happen as well. 183 likes, guys. Let's see if we can hit 200 likes. I go live every single evening on the channel. So if you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, takeover news, updates, and more, make sure you subscribe. We do videos, which is 10 minutes. We get right into the news and we do live streams where we go through the chat and we discuss things. Ian says, This club is a joke. Man United fans should brace themselves for frustrating end of the takeover circus. The Glazers will stay, and Man United fans can forget ever competing with City. And that is the fear. But trying to be positive, but I do think Sir Jim will come, but I think eventually the Glazers will go, but I don't think it will be anywhere near as good as what Qatar have proposed. I have a feeling our next owner is going to be Sir Jim. That is what's being reported, but we don't know. There's still hope for Qatar. I'm not going to be too negative. Yeah, as Anthony said, Shiekh Jassim hasn't lost. He has to win. He's put in this bid for a reason. He's clearly got some belief. So we've just got to stay positive until we know. But the only good thing is if we do get a Sir Jim, and it does get announced we get Sir Jim, at least it's over. At least we don't have to deal with it. At least it's over as well. Glazers just want to see how much they can extort out of both bidders, but I might just see them accepting the Qatar bid last minute. Potentially, maybe they weren't expecting Qatar to play this move, and they're like, oh, actually, we've been trying to get as much as we can out of them. We maybe got to just take this and get on with it. It's been 7 months. I'd like them to think like that, but again, I don't know. A lot of people say Maguire to Spurs. Maguire to Spurs is one to keep an eye on. Maguire would be Tottenham Hotspur's best centre-back. Tottenham fans freaking out saying they don't want Maguire, this and that. And I understand why Tottenham fans don't want Maguire, this and that. But I'm being serious when I say Harry Maguire would be Tottenham's best centre-back. They've got, technically Romero, but Romero's been crap this season. He's better than Eric Dyer. He's all right in a back three. And if you put in a good modern keeper behind him, Maguire isn't a bad centre-back. Maguire isn't a great centre-back. Maguire's not good enough to start for United and an ambitious side. But I do think Maguire to Tottenham isn't even a bad deal. And I'm not saying that because I desperately want to get rid of Maguire. But Tottenham fans are very angry about these Maguire links, etc., etc., etc. But I actually think Maguire would be a decent bit of business for Tottenham. I do actually. I think he'd be all right for them. We can get 25, 30 million for Maguire, boom. He can't play for United. He's not good enough for United. He doesn't work with United. Lindelof's clear of him, but get Maguire out for 30 million, get Kim Min-jae in for 44 million, boom. Maguire, Bailly and Telles could cover the money it takes to bring Kim Min-jae to United. Boom, boom, boom. That's what I want to see Manchester United doing as well. I'm not even convinced he will be an improvement on the Glazers. Look at how he runs OG Nice. He should stick to sailing and cycling. And that's a good point by Alex. The way he owns OG Nice, the way they feel about him is worrying if he becomes United owners, especially because the Premier League's a lot more competitive than League One. Qatar can make Man United successful, especially with Erik Ten Hag and you need a new top coach also. We need someone to help Ten Hag in terms of recruitment, etc., etc., etc. Diallo should go on loan to West Ham for Premier League experience. Maybe not West Ham, but a Brentford or a Brighton. I think Brentford would really suit Amad Diallo. Jassim is a kid in the candy shop. He wants it all and he wants it all now. And that is the belief that Jassim has not given up. And the hope is that this Jassim bid maybe changes the Glazers' mind. But I will be honest, Sir Jim's still in the lead apparently as well. Ben Jake says Ineos and Qatar are in a close ballpark. That's true. This is true. This is a good point. I forgot about this. Big up Saeed. He says, the bid from Ineos and Qatar, they're very close in terms of a ballpark figure. And as Alex was saying earlier in the chat, he was saying basically, well, surely the Glazers would just want all the money upfront from Qatar now rather than waiting for the money, the debts, the loan repayments, etc. Surely if Ineos and Qatar's bid is so close, it's in such a similar ballpark, surely they just want the security of getting Qatar's bid in right away than all the delays and stuff with the Ratcliffe bid. There's a lot of logical reasons for them to choose the Qatar bid. But unfortunately, what are the Glazers? Not logical. The moment the sale is announced, I'm sure Alice Talks will be the first channel to go live for breaking news. Big up Diego in the chat. Make sure you're subscribed. If I don't go live, there's always a video about it. So do subscribe to the channel for daily updates on the takeover and more. Glazers out. Smash the like button for Glazers out. Expressions had a meltdown over Maguire in the car. Look, it's not the centre-back you want. You'd want Kim Min-jae. You want Jurriën Timber. But I don't think Maguire to Tottenham is a bad deal as well. And Manchester United is serious about Amrabat and have intensified contacts within the last few hours. The player's price is Barcelona. I read that, but I think that's United's name being used in a Barcelona outlet to just get some more clicks as well. I don't like the kits this year. What do you guys think about the kits this year? I'm with you on them. I'm not a fan of the kits. Yeah, Maguire is better than Eric Dyer. I'll say that as well. And I will say a lot of people having a go at Rashford for selling children's books and saying PR Ford. Rashford's season's over. He can do what he wants. Just because he's promoting kids' well-being and kids' exercise in a book. Everyone goes PR Ford. Just let him be. I don't get why people are attacking Rashford for doing good things. You know, we complain about Anthony and Greenwood and these allegations that come out, and then we got when Rashford does something nice, like, you know, promoting a kid's book. Yes, people say, oh, he's promoting his kid book and he's doing it for PR. Like, why say that? I have to say, you know, I like Rashford. Yes, we didn't win the final, but he's had a good season. Our season is over, and Rashford's doing good things, going to schools, helping children, feeding children. Rashford cares. He, you know, and people just call him PR Ford. He had a good season. He's our player of the season. We won a trophy. We finished in the top 4. We had a good season. Rashford had a good season. I don't get why people are attacking him, just saying he's full of PR. Yes, he has got a good PR team, but maybe he does that out of his heart because he's got a lot of money. He's got what he wanted, but growing up as a kid, he didn't have all of that, and he understands what it's like to be a kid to not have certain things, and he wants to help those kids. Like, you know, I think everything Rashford does comes from the heart and a good thing. And, you know, it really frustrates me when Rashford does something good and everyone just shouts PR, PR, PR at him. You know, he's just doing a good thing, and he's getting a lot of stick for it. Well, I've just seen people on Twitter calling him PR Ford as well. Just scrolling down the chats, the Kim and Jay deal on. Yeah, I mean, look, I still think, you know, we've got the exact same said about Kim and Jay, so I don't know. We'll have to wait for more people to report it. Let me see if anyone else has reported this story. Just basically, just French's sources like L'Equipe, basically. It's all coming out from French sources like L'Equipe. So no one British is none of the British journalists or sources close to United are reporting this. So I don't know if there's much in it. If there is a reliable source coming out reporting this, then I will look into it more. But I'm going to wait until we get more news on something like that. What I do want to get up actually on my screen, if I can find it, is that L'Equipe did say that the Qatar bid is in the 5.8 billion range, and that's it was said by the Telegraph here, and this is an interesting thing. And this is what Qatar, they've recently got, this is from Qatari sources reportedly, that sources say Shiekh Jassim's new bid represents an enormous premium on United's current share price. And Qatari sources are feeding to the media that their bid is a good one. Their bid is a good one. It's an enormous bid. It's a fair bid as well. And yeah, rival haters as always. A lot of the people commenting on Rashford's posts are rivals. And do you know what used to really annoy me? Was when a player would get racist abuse. So when Elanga missed a penalty, when Rashford missed a penalty, or when Rashford had a bad game, when you actually click the pictures of the people sending Rashford racist abuse, you'll just see a Leeds fan, and then you'll see people going, oh, United fans are so racist to their players. And I'm like, unfortunately, there are racist United fans, but it's not a United problem, racism. It's a world problem. It's a global problem. And some people, rival fans especially, like to kick someone when they're down. They will send, some people are so vile that if a Man United player misses a penalty, they will send them racist abuse, and they might be a bloody Millwall fan. Do you know what I mean? Because they don't like United or a Leeds fan. And then if Rashford does something good, like feed kids, you'll get rival fans hating on him and calling him PR Ford. But unfortunately, some of our own fans do it. Some of our own fans call him PR Ford and all of that, you know, and let's just stop that. Let's just be nice. Let's just see he's doing a good thing. We have these horrible Greenwood stories, we have these horrible Anthony stories, but yet when we get a nice story about Rashford doing something good, we attack him. It's not the season, it's his summer. Footballers are allowed lives in the summer. I feel like sometimes we're so critical of players. Rashford had a good season, he won player of the season, let him do what he wants. You know, I think people deep it as well. Fabrizio Romano said it is the real deal, wait for him. But last time he said that United will be linked to French as well, like Tobido. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see what Romano and reliable journalists say on this as well. But the reported Qatar bid is £5.2 billion as well. Hopefully racism will be stomped out of football. Exactly. And little things like that. And if you remove debts and pledges, it's somewhere around 5.2 billion. This final Qatar bid, and the Ineos bid is around 5.3 billion to 5.5. Yeah, so the Ineos bid might just pip it, but technically, at least the Qatar bid, you would get it all in one. It's all very complex, to be honest, the news, and I think no one really knows, but at least we know we're going to get some clarity soon. And honestly, I can't wait until we get some clarity, because I'm absolutely fed up with this whole situation. Absolutely fed up. I'm just going to make sure there's no news coming in now. And look, guys, I'm going to wrap up today's live stream, but there's going to be videos and stuff tomorrow. There's quite a lot coming in. There's quite a lot of news coming in. So I will look at the news and do a video tomorrow. But I want to just say, please do smash that like button if you haven't already. And of course, subscribe down below to the channel if you're new. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news and more. Make sure you subscribe as well. See you next time and bye.